the camera's up, the sound is up, so...
Hopefully the audio's working. Can you hear Eddie? Can you hear
me? I don't know. I
Can
can't
you
tell.
hear Andrew? Can you hear Eddie? Let's hopefully find out. So I know we'll have a few people watching soon. We have Elliot joining in a minute, so hopefully Elliot can let us know if the audio is good. We're using a cordless mic, and I only brought one because I wasn't planning on using it. So next time we'll have 2 or 3 or 4. Cool, brilliant. The audio is working. I did a quick test. That's good. And what we're going to do, I want to write on the board, although I've got a trapped nerve in my back, so I can barely stand up. Ouch. And my handwriting is the worst. I'm probably not the best person to do this, but...
Go on holiday, injure yourself, and come back.
True. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a website, an open source.
So we're going to be doing this off the Code Mortals account, so we have
Open source website.
organisation.
Oh, you should be talking to this.
Oh, sorry, I'll grab. So whilst Eddie's just writing there, so for those that have obviously been on Eddie's channel a few times before, I've been with him a few times now on the channel doing live streams. We've been talking to recruiters and so forth. I suppose you could say we're going to try taking things to the next level a little bit. So, yeah, scary times. The next level, going up, yeah? Yeah. And by that, we have started a organisation that we are calling Code Mortals. We've already got a number of people up on our Slack channel, so if you do want to join us on Slack, I'm sure we can arrange for that as well. But the idea being we want to help educate a few people on best practices, open source, and build a community around all of that, really. So there'll be more of these streams. We have a YouTube channel. We were going to be using it this evening, but it turns out that YouTube required us to validate a phone number that we hadn't done, so that was our mistake there. So we have to wait 24 hours in perjury until we can get going with that. But yeah, the website we're going to be building will be the Code Mortals website, and yeah, for the website we are going to do just a couple of simple things to get it started. Normally, if you're going to build a simple website, you would not be using a framework. You'll probably be writing stuff with vanilla JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and so forth. However, we're actually going to use Angular to build this website. The reason being that in the future we will probably extend it to have a lot more functionality, but also we can just talk a bit about Angular and the framework as well while we're doing this. If we were to just talk JavaScript, HTML, CSS, that's the sort of thing that most people have probably heard elsewhere quite frequently. So yeah, we're going to be using Angular. We're going to build up a simple website to start with, and the main focus of this stream will be around some of the best practices to deploy and host that back onto GitHub pages. So it will be.
Firebase. I don't know. I might just use Firebase.
You're really tempted to use Firebase now.
Yeah, because when we put the database behind it, we could use a bit of Firebase. We could do some real-time communication.
Or we can move it later. I'm easy.
See, yeah.
We'll discuss that as we go through the stream. So it could be onto GitHub pages, could be onto Firebase.
Get the audience to view and see what they think as well.
But yeah, that's going to be the aim, is to just get the basics in place and show that set up. And yeah, Eddie will probably be doing most of the talking for the rest of the stream because he's put me in front of the computer to do the coding. Although I will try and do a bit of a switch with him later. He's not ready for that yet, though.
It's stopped working now. It's really good.
Andrew, you're getting some love of the chat, by the way.
Oh, am I? Oh dear.
It's just so chill. It's so relaxed.
Taking it easy, yeah. Watching what Eddie's writing on the board, wondering what's he going to say that we're going to be doing.
Let's swap. My handwriting's terrible, so that took me like 5 minutes to write open source. I don't even know if people can read that.
You've got me doing the coding, you've got me doing the screen.
I'm gonna say, hey, let's get some shout outs. You've got Mesh. Hey Mesh, thanks for joining. Who else have we got? I said hi to Elliot already. It's really great to have Elliot here. Thanks for all your support on Code Mortals. We've got Novaz and we've got Hart as well, which is freaking awesome. So from 2 people, which is great. We want to share the coding and tech love. And we've got Tanya hiding in the corner, who's taking lots of photos, which is great. And Tanya, say hi.
Hi.
And she's getting into TypeScript, coming from a Java background. It should be easy for her. She likes something called React. I think that's, I don't know what that is for kids. I think. Don't throw anything at me.
Oh, throw one camera.
So Andrew's handwriting, you can see, is a lot better. But today we want to try and do like a steel thread going. Like a hello world all the way to the deployment, so we can show you setting up an Angular project, which probably a lot of you already know, but then we want to add Cypress to it. so that it's got automated testing. You'll see it drive the browser. We will share the computer screen so you can see it. And then we want to also then put that on CI so it builds and runs the tests, and then also deploy it to GitHub Pages or to Firebase. We're going to punch up and fight over that in a minute. And this is overkill for a kind of a simple website, but we plan to build on it later on, so that's why we're going for that. And and then once we've got that still thread going through, we can keep adding to it, keep building to it, and improving it and doing a lot more. So watch out, Tanya's sneaking through. How's the sound, everyone? How's the video? We've got a slightly different setup to last time, so just interested to know how you think the video and the audio is. I'm just going to have a look in the chat as well. Who else have we got? Stream is very laggy. Novaz says. Anyone else having that problems? I'm hoping it's just the one person rather than everybody.
I think we're pushing it out at 1080p.
Okay.
I don't know if it shouldn't be too bad at HD.
We have I see Tanya hiding in the video as you go past. If anyone can let us know how the video and audio is. And Elliot says, hi, Tanya. And who else do we have? We have Akesh saying hi. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Kelton. Meshfin is from Helsinki. Awesome. And you can't read anything on the whiteboard. Okay, Meshfin, thanks for the honesty on that. I'll read it out in a second. It's the green pen.
It's just some notes.
It's notes for us.
I think it's actually the light. So the light is creating the glare against
Let's turn off the light and see. Oh, wrong light. Maybe this one. There's too many buttons. I'm just pressing all of them. How's that one? Hope that's better. You're right, that light in the top does look awful. So remove that. So I can talk through this. So we're going to do a lot of open source today, and I want all of you to contribute to open source. Be it raising an issue, it's still a contribution. Be it commenting on a pull request, because we will do everything via pull request, even if Andrew's doing the work. Actually, especially if Andrew's doing the work, we definitely want to review it. So we want to get your feedback, even just practice, right? Just put a comment. If you like the way something's done, just put in saying, thumbs up, like the way this is done, because that will be great. Don't worry about getting in the stream, it's fine. Everyone knows you're here. So Meshfin, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right, says it's better with that light off, so that's good. It's not laggy as much, it just keeps freezing when you move fast. Okay, I'll try not to move so fast. Glad the audio is great, brilliant. Okay, we're going to get more microphones for next time so we can have some awesome audio. So what it says on the board, open source, we're all going to do that, not just us, you as well. You are going to contribute to open source. Code Mortal's GitHub organization. We will share a link in the chat shortly. Up here is written Angular plus TypeScript. TypeScript is freaking awesome. Even Tanya, as a React fan, says TypeScript's pretty good.
Do you want my opinion on that?
Yes, please. As long as it's good.
No, yes, it is good. So I'm not a fan of React and TypeScript, but I'm doing using TypeScript for some APIs I'm building.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so you're not a fan of React. We understand. React is not very good. Angular is better, right? No?
That's fighting talk.
And then we're going to GitHub. We're going to show you some GitHub. You've probably all seen it before, but we're going to, create issues. Maybe use the project board so you can have it looks like Trello and drag things across. Our commits will have the GitHub issue number in it, so our commits are tied to the issue, and we'll close the issue via the pull request as well. We'll show you some tricks around that. Any questions, you jump in. Cypress is probably one you might not have seen. So Cypress will do the automated test. It will drive the browser. We'll use Cypress and Cucumber. We didn't write Cucumber on there.
No, I thought we'd talk about Cucumber when we get to it.
Okay, we'll talk about Cucumber when we get to it. What Andrew was just saying, because he didn't have the mic, I repeated it.
We need multiple mics.
I have multiple mics. Didn't bring it. I bought a cable.
Well, we were expecting to use a different mic, weren't we? But unfortunately, these lovely Apple Mac machines don't have USB ports anymore, and we only have one converter for a USB, and that's driving the camera.
That's true. Oh, Elliot has just said the reflection off the TV screen that we're not using is causing some bad reflection, which is a good point. Let me turn this off. I pressed something. Off. Yeah, cool. Hopefully that's better. And Cypress with Cucumber. So Cucumber allows us to write gherkin, which is kind of like in English, given, when, then. So given I'm on the home page, when I click login, then I see the login form, something to that effect. And we're going to do deployments, GitHub Pages of Firebase. What do you think? Please write in the chat what you think is best. And we're going to use Circle, not Travis. We can fight about that in a minute as well. What do you prefer?
Circle.
Really?
Sorry.
I'm outnumbered.
There are certain things about Circle I just find easier to get along with, like the context. So you can, as an owner, you can manage all your environment variables. At the project level, they can manage the things that are more specific to them. So you just better protection, security, and some of those things. That Travis is great, I guess, for the open source. I'll say it's like the cheap. I won't say cheap version. It's still good. How do I phrase it? It's just not developed as much over the years, I guess. People haven't invested as heavily into it. I think Circle, they've invested very heavily into everything on it. And Travis, they've just got something that works. It's great. Does what it says on the tin. But yeah, they need to do a bit more work.
Cool. Okay, Tanya, thank you very
Bye,
much.
guys. Good luck with the stream. Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Everyone say bye to Tanya. And encourage her to, she's got an awesome camera, encourage her, she goes to lots of great events, and encourage her to vlog some of her
One
events.
event this year, and that was today.
And it was a great event, it was a 2-day event, so you need to vlog it.
You can join us for a longer stream sometime in the future, right?
Yes.
Yes, let me know, and I'll keep an eye on the chat for you.
Thank you so much. Bye. Okay, so let's get started. So, Andrew, that doesn't look like VS Code. Oh no, Andy won't be able to get out. Let me go help her get out. No, the one downstairs you can't.
Yeah, that shouldn't be locked yet.
It will be.
There'll be people going, oh, okay. Okay. I've got to type, talk, and do everything. Okay, no problem. But I can run this on my own. Okay, good. So, you have to put with me from it. We will swap over to my screen, and we will get things kicked off, and Eddie can catch up when he gets back. So, I'm just going to change the screen up to my desktop. And I am going to open up my terminal window. This is where things get interesting. I'm going to put the mic down on the table, and hopefully it won't tap away. So I will look at the chat as well. If it does jump around, let me know, and I will try and change how I've got the mic. Right, so the first thing I need to do, so as Eddie mentioned, we have on GitHub a project, codemortals.github.io. Reason for the name being that way is so that if we do use GitHub pages, GitHub will promote this as the default page for Code Mortals. What I need to start by doing is just cloning the repository though. So on GitHub there's a nice clone button. I can just grab the copy from that, and on my machine I shall do a git clone for that URL. Now I do have SSH keys set up and GPG keys set up, so everything you do gets validated and verified and so forth by Tanya. Yeah, I think unfortunately, the chat lags behind. Tanya has left the room a moment ago, but we will pass on. In fact, I seem to keep an eye on the chat anyway, so she'll probably say hi. Okay, so that has cloned. If I look now, I should be able to see on here Code Mortals GitHub.io project, and I can go into that. Now, for any Angular project, if you have or haven't worked on Angular, you do need to have the CLI installed. I should have it installed globally, so to install it, you would just do an npm install global, so npm I global, and then for @angular /CLI. Because I can't hold a mic and type with two hands.
I'll buy some mic stands. I'm back, everyone, don't worry.
Cool.
Did you miss me?
Okay, so yeah, first thing to do is make sure you're installed with the Angular CLI. So npm install global Angular @angular /CLI will install the latest version. It probably hasn't changed anything for me, so I'm probably up to date. But from there, you can just type ng new.
Did you see Elliot's comment about making it a bit bigger?
Oh, sorry, that's probably only just come in 2 moments ago. Yeah, I can make the text bigger. There we go. In fact, I'll clear the other stuff that we've been typing first. Now, when you type ng new, it will create a directory normally. So I'm just going to do this. What would you like to name the workspace? I can't. Yeah, so I'm going to just change this very slightly. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to.
What are you thinking?
No, it might let me do it if I do ng new. Normally, well, because we've already got a repository up on GitHub, I've always, whenever I've started a new Angular project, done the ng new from local, and then pushed it up to a new repository. But we've already got an existing repository, so I'm going to try and see what happens if I do an ng new and just type in the project. Hopefully it will behave correctly.
While you're doing that, I think you can also put the flag on there to put the directories. You can put a dot or something. But while you're doing that, I'm going to share the link to the GitHub project so people can, raise issues. Let's get people contributing. Who wants to contribute to open source today? And raising an issue counts. Oh, and I can put the logo on the, you can't see on my screen, I'm really sorry, but I want to put the logo on the GitHub org, and I'll share the GitHub org first, so therefore you can see the logo appear as well.
So just to say, I am going to pick SCSS. There are a few options available for your preference when it comes to writing CSS, but SCSS is the one that I've been using probably for the last couple of years since it took over from SAS, and less, I guess I haven't used that in a while. So as you see the options, you can see what I'm selecting whilst Eddie is talking. Yeah, I thought it might get upset with me for that. There's already a folder that exists. Okay, what I'll do is I'm going to do the same thing again, but I'm just going to move all the files that it creates over afterwards. So I'm just going to call it Code Mortals right now.
It wouldn't be a live demo if just shit didn't went wrong, you know, and you know we had the wrong mic, we didn't have the right adapters. Hopefully this is it right now. It's going to be plain sailing, right?
It's easy enough. It was a good experiment because I've never actually tried to do that before. Not if I have, it's probably been a few years ago anyway.
I have just updated the logo on the GitHub organization. So if you have gone to the link and to the GitHub organization, if you refresh the page, you'll see our mascot. We're working on the logo at the moment. And we were going to stream about that, but it's not so technical, so we thought we wouldn't. But if you would like to see that, let us know, and we're more than happy to share another time. Got some feedback. Terminal font size is still small. CLI, I think, just using the terminal. Okay, make it bigger.
I've just bumped it up a couple more.
Do it.
So hopefully that's good enough, right? Okay, so you can see I've got two folders. I've just created the new Angular project into a Code Mortals folder, and I've got my cloned GitHub folder below. So what I'm going to do, because I want to move everything across, hello, CD Code Mortals, that'll do. So these are all the files that Angular has created. It sets up various tests and things for me. We're actually not going to be using the Angular frameworks for any of the testing side. We will set things up with Cypress, but it has configured everything for us. And I'm going to probably start with just a basic setup for Cypress as well, rather than trying to integrate anything with the CLI for this. So from here, what I can do is just move it all over. So I'm just going to say move.
Which you shouldn't have to do. You shouldn't have to move it because we already got an existing project, which I don't think's got anything in it really. If you go to, yeah, it's pretty simple. I think I'm just going to open it up on GitHub. Do have a look yourself on GitHub as well. It's just a README and a license file. So that's why we have to move it over, but you won't have to. And it's going to get more interesting. I saw in the chat some people haven't done CI before, so it's going to get interesting when we do that. It's 7 o'clock. I think we can get quite a bit done in the next hour, as long as we don't have any more challenges. But you know, there's two of us here, and there's I think quite a few of you out there. Between us, we'll all figure it out. Don't worry. I'm not worried. Hopefully, you're not worried. Have you broken it?
I've moved everything over. What you'll see is I did leave the .git file that Angular created, because Angular sets it up assuming you're going to use Git. Hence, it asked me for my GPG key a minute ago. But I'm not, because we've got another Git project, we don't need the Git file that it put there. We can do a new commit, which I will do now. So if I do a Git status on this folder, you will see all the files that have been added by Angular. And what we can just do before I add those is let's do... I think npm gets set up with this, right? So I can do an npm start and just check that Angular boots up a website for us, make sure that it's happy.
And what's always really good is to commit when you've just created the project. Therefore, you've got kind of like initial project start. So when you make changes, if anything goes wrong, you can always go back quite easily to a safe state. So Andrew has just started the project with npm start. Which if you look in the package.json will tell you what the command that it runs. And you can see on his screen, we have an Angular project. Looks good. Done. Let's all go home. Let's go. It's finished. Okay, not quite.
So that's your basic project. Angular just gives you a very simple page with the Angular logo on there. The name of what we call the project. So when we did the ng new, it's just used that to title it with. And just some simple links for those that are new to it.
Your thing is quite small in the window. I've just realised that it's...
Oh, interesting.
It's only 3/4 of the screen.
Interesting. Okay.
It's because you resized after OBS.
Could be. I'm going to go...
Oh, you can't change that now.
I might be able to. Let's have a look.
Don't know if you can. Okay. I can. While you're playing with that, I can dance around. Okay, Andrew's playing with OBS, which is our streaming software, open broadcasting studio. And we're having some more teething issues, so thanks all for bearing with us. If you could close your trays and put your seats in the upright position so we can get ready for takeoff. That's the expression, right? So What else are we going to talk about? What Andrew's just having a play and see, trying to make the size of the fonts bigger, not just for each window, but the whole window to take the page.
Behind us a bit.
Sounds good. And yeah, I'm looking at the live stream on my computer, and I can see that the whiteboard's quite difficult to read. So next time we will bring a black pen, which I think will be easier to read. Maybe try a different room. We picked this room because it's kind of it's small size. Have you done that? Shall we have a look?
Hopefully, when updates onto the screen, so we are about 20 seconds behind, I think, on what we can actually see coming through the feed.
If you have any questions at any point, please do write it in the chat, and we'll try and answer. This stream, we're focusing on open source, Angular, Cypress, Cucumber, CI, CD. If you don't know what those are, do shout in the chat, and I'll give you a brief overview. But we really want to give you a real demo on the shared screen. So what I can see now is all the files that Angular has created. I've just done a git add all, but what I've realized is we haven't actually created any issues yet, so we need to go onto GitHub and put issues in. Wait, will someone create some issues for us? We need one which is create, and don't forget, creating an issue counts as your open source contribution. It gives you that green tile.
Pop the first one in for just creating the Angular project, and then if you want to talk and add some more issues to say what else we're going to do, so the Cypress stuff, and you can add those, and get people to add those ones, just so I can get the initial commit moving, and we're not pause too much on the coding side. So yeah, I will put the first issue in, and I'm just going to call this literally initialize the project using Angular. I'm going to say Angular 8 because we're on Angular 8 today. Angular 8, for anyone that does follow Angular, only came out a couple of weeks ago now. Not long, pretty fresh off the developers over at Google. We could talk about the features that it brings, but let's focus on building this right now. I'm going to assign myself. I'm going to add a label. We haven't sorted our labels out on this project yet. Normally, I do change the labels that GitHub gives you by default. So actually, I'm not going to label this for now. We can go and sort labels out. In fact, maybe that's something you want to look at.
I can do that while you're coding. I can sort out labels, milestones, and projects, and I'll set that out, and then you can share it on yours and see.
Cool. So what you'll see is, as I've created that, it's given me an issue number, issue 34. So right now, I'm actually on the master branch. If I was to do a git state, actually, I've already done one. I can see I'm on the master branch. What we should really do on GitHub is protect that master branch, because I shouldn't really be pushing into it. So I'm just going to go back to GitHub, and over here we can go to the settings.
You're not showing a screen.
Oh, am I not? I thought I was.
Sorry, folks.
Oh no.
I've just realised we're not showing the screen. So we will fix that problem right now. What did we miss?
So the thing you missed was I created an issue. So over in the issues, I went new issue.
Right, it hasn't come through yet, but I'm guessing you're sharing it. Okay.
Yeah. Went new issue, and I've just created this new issue, and I've just called it initialize project using Angular 8. And that has given me an issue number, issue 34. Now, what I was saying is that I'm on the master branch right now, and that's not really good. I shouldn't be committing straight to the master branch. If it was me on my own, maybe I'd accept doing it.
No.
Even then, I try not to do it. So I can see arguments for it, but yes, best practice-wise, no, don't commit direct to your master branch.
Never do it, even if it is your own project. Just don't do it. I mean, we all do that. I think I'm doing it less and less, and you'll see for my open source projects, I protect master, I protect develop, and I always go via pull request. I try and get a friend or someone in the open source community to have a quick look over it to make sure I've done nothing stupid. Yeah,
definitely good if you can lean on people to help you out. But yeah, to protect it effectively, we go to our...
You sure you're sharing the screen? No, you're not. That's what you'll see. If you want that to come over, you need to... Right, okay, now we're sharing the screen. How many 15 years each is 30 years and we can't even do a stream?
I think the problem is we don't normally stream, we code. So we know what our coding's like, and yeah. It's probably my fault, I don't stream as much as Eddie.
It is Andrew's fault, I'm just saying.
It's my fault.
But we'll get better, Thanks for your patience and support.
Do I need to do that a third time now?
Yes.
Okay. Last time...
We just lost like 2 people. They're thinking, what's going on? These guys are talking, no showing anything. You owe me 2 people.
Okay, we'll get them back. Right, all I've done, I've gone into GitHub, under the issues section, new issue, and I've created this new issue at the top here that says initialize the project using Angular 8. Eddie will share a link to the repository for anyone that wants to have a look. And yeah, this issue has given me a new number called issue 34. That will become relevant in a moment because right now I'm on the master branch and that's not good. We shouldn't be committed to the master branch, which you've all heard a minute ago. So how do we fix that? We go into the settings on GitHub, and GitHub has a branches section in the settings. Underneath that, we have various branch protection rules. There's nothing set up. So we add a rule. And to add a rule for protecting a branch, we simply give it the name of the branch. You can use regular expressions if you wanted to. So if you had a particular name like issue hyphen something and you wanted to protect that, you could do.
I'll just keep it simple for
But
now.
right now, yeah, all I want to do is protect the master branch. So I'm going to say master. I'm going to require a pull request review. So hopefully somebody will be able to review my PR.
Put loads of comments in his PRs, but we'll show you how to do that in a minute. Don't worry.
Right now we have no CI hooked up, so there's no point me checking the next one right now, but very soon we will have a CI check set up. But these are various status checks, so that GitHub integrates with a number of different things that can check a number of things. It's not necessarily always testing, but it's just third-party plugins, let's say, that you might have set up that integrate with GitHub. I'm going to require that commits are signed because signed commits are good. And I could go into a long conversation on why that's important because I could effectively commit and pretend I was Eddie if I wanted to.
Andrew's right. Most people don't sign their commits, and on GitHub it does highlight the commits that are signed. And if the way to think of it is, when you get verified on Instagram or Twitter, you've got that verified badge. They've like verified you are who you say you are. Signing your commits is the same because if someone can commit on your behalf, that's really, really bad. So definitely sign your commits. And all you need to do is create a bit like your SSH keys, but you create a GPG key, and you give GitHub half and you have half, and so it knows that the commit came from you. And you can get it to save your password, so every time you do a commit, even if it's the commit's local, you don't have to enter a password each time. But at least you know it came from that computer.
But on the fun side, if you wanted some big name people to look like they're committing to your project, you could easily cheat. And the reason being that Git is a distributed platform at the end of the day. Underneath the hood, all it's got is an email address, and that's what GitHub uses to tie things together. So grab an email address for a valid GitHub user, and you could potentially go wild committing things as them, but you would not be able to get the verified flag against there. So for anyone that would be accepting your work, they should be deeming the verified tag to be important. So yeah, I always say require signed commits so that people have to have verified who they are.
You will people contributing, you will find that a bit challenging, but we can walk you through that and show you how to do that. It is quite simple. It just seems one of those things that seems to scare people.
GitHub does have a full guide for that as well. I mean, you go to your settings at the
GitHub's
top,
guides are pretty awesome.
and you go to settings, I believe it's in.
Don't go into it now.
Tab. But under settings, just very quickly, you'll find a SSH GPG keys, and there is a full guide there on how to do that.
Yeah.
At the bottom.
We'll come to that. We don't want to get distracted because I'm usually the one who's really bad at getting distracted.
Just lots of things to discuss. But anyway, so I've added these. I will create that rule now. I need to add it.
While you're typing in your password, I'm just going to answer Novaz's question. Yes, it will be auto-deploying to a live server. So we actually want to show how you can even, from develop branch, you can deploy to a development environment, and from the master branch, you can deploy to a production environment. So as things merge from a feature branch on GitHub, from a pull request, into develop, it deploys to develop, and as it merges, as you collect a few stories up or a few features, and as they merge into master, they'll get deployed to production. So we will be showing that as well. Required signed commits, we need to check it out. Do check it out. To clone the project, you won't need to do signed commits. Only if you want to do a commit and push to and contribute back to us.
Accept the PR and merge it as you. The alternative is if we decide that what you've got there is good, but you haven't signed it and you're not willing to, because you can rebase and redo your commit, push it back up, fix those problems. But if someone's not willing to do that and we want the work, then we would end up having to basically duplicate it ourselves and push it up as ourselves, which is less than ideal. So if you want to get the credit for it, do it the right way, I guess, is the point there. Okay, so now we've got that, we can actually go and create a branch. So I'm on the master branch right now. If I was to do a commit, I won't demonstrate now, GitHub will now reject me pushing to master. So instead, I'm going to check out a new branch.
So you could commit to master locally, but when you push, GitHub will reject it and say this branch is protected. So we protect our mainline branches so no one can push directly to it. It has to come via a pull request. Even for the project owners or authors or maintainers, however you want to call them, they need to go via a pull request. Everything. everything, no exceptions, none. So, Andrew, you spelled your name wrong.
So Git commit formats, you can write a Git commit however you want. However, we often use the name conventional changelog style. You can put it at the beginning or the end. I don't think it's actually important. Yeah, depending on where you look, there's different places you put it at the start or the end. But the main thing is that you've got the number in there. Because what the number does is that hash 34 will create a link within GitHub. So it will automatically link you back to that issue number so you can see the issue number that came in. But the important part really is the first bit here. So I'm calling this a chore. It's not really new code. It's just setting up the project. So we're just going to add Angular 8. Normally we'd use things like feat or defect and so forth. So chore setup, create new project, and then the issue number, which was issue 34.
Just to jump in there, I'm laughing and smiling, if you noticed on camera, because Novaz in the chat, but I've noticed from GitHub his name is Ben, has just put a comment on one of our issues that I created a while ago about just ideas for Code Mortals, which was create t-shirts and hoodies, and he wrote the comment, "Give me that merch," with a dancing lady, and signed it his name. So thank you very much. That was awesome. We are working on that. We have a mascot that's been done. And it should be on the GitHub profile picture, and we're working on the logo at the moment with the designers, and then we will get some merch out soon, maybe run some competitions.
Yeah, in fact, we need to put a link out to the logo competition that's currently going on. Yeah, so I've pushed that up. GitHub has noticed that I've pushed up a branch, so I can now do a pull request. It will use the commit that I put in there, but what I will also do is add a comment into my description just saying it closes issue 34. So that's important because GitHub, when this gets merged, will automatically close the issue, which is quite handy. And it adds a reference to it and so forth.
Couple of questions. One is, did you leak your keys? I don't think they did. The keys weren't shown.
The public part of the key.
Yeah, public part, and also it wasn't the key itself. It's the ID of it, whatever you call it. I can't think of it.
You have a public and a private part to each key. The public part you should share with as many people as you can so that everyone... Because if I go into the terminal here and I do a git log, you will see it comes up as red because I don't actually have my key on my computer, my public side. Sorry, this one here. The one that's red here, sorry, actually this is Eddie's. So I don't have Eddie's public key, but he could give me his public key, which is what GitHub was showing a minute ago. So when I showed that screen that had the public key element, I could install that onto my computer and Eddie's key won't come up as red anymore. My key comes up in blue because I have my signed key. That's all good. So it knows about this. So the public element is what you were seeing when I opened up the settings page. There is a private part that sits behind it that looks a lot like an SSL CSR file. So it looks a lot like an SSL key. And it's much, much longer, way longer than what you saw. So no, I've not leaked them.
But thanks for asking. It's good for us to check, because then if we had, which I have done in the past before, twice in the same stream, kid you not, then we can go and reset them. So just some other points. The terminal, the camera is blocking part of the screen.
I just moved it up a minute ago. I think you've probably got an old message. I noticed that myself.
Okay, got you. Terminal's higher. If we need to move it any higher, let us know, but it should be higher now, which is good. It says better. Anything at the bottom, the camera will block. Okay, perfect. And Nove says he wants a hoodie, t-shirt, and stickers. So do we. We will have them as soon as we finalise the logo and slogan and stuff.
With some kind of little competition, give a few of them away free and set up like a merch site or something to give them away at cost or whatever. But yeah, obviously comes out of our own pocket, but we will certainly get a few out there.
I think we should do some competitions.
Yeah, I think we should get a few out for free. Maybe when we set up some kind of sign up on our subscribers list, the first, 10, 20 people get some
10,
stuff.
20? I was thinking like 2, but okay. He's nicer than me.
Yeah, we need to set something up on there. So yeah, get subscribing to all our stuff, and you never know, that might win you something.
We'll do something. Or maybe who contributes the most to the project. And don't forget...
When I say our stuff, I'm talking Code Mortal stuff, right? So
yes.
Code Mortals, YouTube, Twitter, all the rest. Get subscribing onto these places, and yeah, we'll have to figure out how we do a competition. But
open source contributions. It's not just about code. That's the important part. We'll figure something out.
Cool. Right, we're at 20 past 7. Let's see.
Oh, Elliot shared a picture in Slack of him watching our stream on his big screen. Hey, thanks for that, Elliot. That's awesome. I want to put that on social later on. That's. Oh, and I just seen your previous messages. Meshfin from W3 Develops will be joining as well from Helsinki. Awesome. That's great. We were chatting to him, and I didn't realise your comment before. And then Craig says, I want to visit London. Sounds like an awesome tech community. There is a great tech community in London. I think because London's quite, I guess, small, that it's quite intense. I think the problems we have is there are so many events going on in a single night that you don't know which one to go to. So like tomorrow I've got like 4 or 5 different events I want to go to, and they're events that are quite in a niche rather than, not talking about tech events. You've probably got like 20 or 30 tech events at least going on, but that's including say AI, VR, etc. I'm talking about kind of web dev, JavaScript, probably got 4 or 5 events going on in a single evening. So there's just so much going on, even tonight. So I'm not talking about ours, but others. But we want to bring the wider community together. So we are looking into running a virtual conference and workshops and stuff. But I won't distract. We're gonna try and get something still thread through to deploying today, which I think will be awesome.
Yeah. So the next thing I'm going to do is rip out some of the stuff that Angular gives you, some of the boilerplate. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I just don't tend to use it these days. When I first started using Angular, I was using all this stuff with the Karma and Protractor, but Protractor certainly I found a lot of issues because it was built around AngularJS, and AngularJS and Angular are 2 totally different things. Anyone that's experienced AngularJS and they think that's what Angular is, it's not. I know a lot of people went to React because of that, but Angular, if you do come back to it, you'll realize it is a totally different beast. Far better beast, but totally different to what AngularJS was. So yeah, Protractor was built around AngularJS. They have done improvements. Angular, I'm not sure why necessarily they're putting Protractor as the default, because I do think things like WebDriver, I/O, and certainly Cypress are far superior for browser testing over Protractor. So I'm going to rip out some stuff. So I'm going to start basically with all the spec files. So I'm literally just going to delete these out of here.
Delete the stuff you don't want. I don't understand why people keep files they think, I might need later. Because you've done a previous commit, when we set up the project where Angular created those files, we committed it. The files are all there if we need it. They're in the history. So there's no point keeping files, making the code messy. Same with code that's commented out. If it's been committed before and then now you want to kind of half keep it, don't comment it out. Just delete it. It's there in the history.
Yeah, I've done a commit already. The commit was done, as we saw a few minutes ago. So if I did, for any reason, want to bring it back,
so I should give you
it's all there. Yeah, no problem.
Free stuff, Novaz, definitely. We'll run a competition, we'll let you know. And we've got Carl saying, what's the Slack? And Novaz saying, what's the Slack? So let me get you those details. I need to send an invite. We haven't got an open Slack at the moment. We need to work on that. There are so many things we need to do. Our day jobs get in the way, so we're working on it. So you'll need to send me your emails. Do you send me your email on Instagram or Twitter or something, and I can add you, and we have different channels for the live stream. We have a channel for the virtual conference, channel for the workshop, where we can bounce ideas if you want to talk. Because even if you're remote, even if you're in the States or I think Helsinki it was, wherever you are, we want people to not just join the live stream, the workshop or the virtual conference that we want to do. We'd love for you to speak. We'll put a big TV behind it. We'll do kind of a newsroom style is what we're thinking. We'll have a big TV behind us, and then we'll have a few seconds of us kind of transitioning over to the person who's going to present, and then we'll actually switch so that the live stream is showing that the other person's actual video rather than from the TV. But these are all ideas at the moment. So just ping me your email address and I'll invite you to Slack. Right. So how's the file deleting going?
Let's have a look. I've gone through. I think I've removed them all. Obviously, for those that I wasn't actually talking while I was doing it, you'll have to watch the stream and see what it was I removed. But it was basically most of the spec files, and within the config, anywhere that test and end-to-end was referenced. So all I have right now is a source folder, the various default files. I've noticed that Angular have actually changed something slightly in Angular 8. They've centralized some of their TS config, because there's normally a test and an app JSON for the TS config. That's TypeScript's way of knowing what to do. So I'm going to leave those ones in. Normally I end up having to rename that within the Angular JSON, but I'll leave that alone. There is a slight error there because it's closing bracket and JSON doesn't support that. Right, so I'm going to just hop over to terminal, stop the project, clear my backlog, and just start it again. And with any luck, if it's all correct, Angular won't kick up any issues.
While that's going, I just want to say, if you're watching, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, to this channel, as well as our Code Mortals channel. Because we're doing future streams that we do together. So I'm still going to keep my channel. My channel's going to focus more on open source and events and hackathons. But these sorts of live streams and other videos like that, and Andrew and me do together, we will be doing on the Code Mortals YouTube channel. So I will share the link. Don't forget to subscribe to that. I will get the link now.
So for the first time ever, the compile actually worked first time, and the web page still loads when I refresh it. So it looks like I removed the correct files. I can't spot any others that I have missed, so I am pretty happy with that. However, I'm still awaiting the pull request from the previous one to be merged. And I probably don't have an issue raised for my new one because Eddie likes talking. And we do.
I've got distracted.
So I'm going to have to raise a couple more issues. But if you could look at that pull request for me, and you can talk about the pull request quickly, whilst I raise an issue around clearing out the default Angular tests. So I was going to say remove.
I was just going to say, don't create too many issues. We would like the audience to also create the issues too.
Yeah, well, if you talk to them about the sort of issues, they can raise some.
Yes, that's true. Okay, I'm just going to share the YouTube channel for Code Mortals so people can subscribe to that in the future, because for our next live stream, we'll be on the Code Mortals channel as well. Okay, so now that I've shared that, what are we doing? So,
well, what I will quickly say is on the plus side is whilst Eddie hasn't actually approved my PR, or no one else has yet. Have a look. Maybe someone has. No one's yet approved the PR on the Code Mortals project. Then what I can do is I can actually still branch off that branch, and when the previous one is merged, GitHub will figure it all out. So it doesn't stop me from pushing code up and raising a new pull request, but I now need to note there's an order the pull request should be merged in. That's the only thing.
That's fine. I'm about to approve it now. So let me merge it. Let's just do it. So I'm not.
Have you reviewed it? I've actually seen you go on to the.
There's 30 file changes, but the thing is, I can't unfortunately show you my screen. We need a streaming computer that we can both send our screens to.
I can hop off the seat for a second. You can talk about pull requests for a minute because I've been driving.
Let's do it. Okay, I've got a trapped nerve in my back, so I might squeal when I move, and that will hopefully be fixed by next week. Okay, so hopefully you can see me on Andrew's computer, and Andrew has just left us, which is fine. So I have approved the pull request, and let me show you how I did that. I am logged in as Andrew on his computer, so I wouldn't be able to approve it because you can't approve your own. But went to the pull request tab, and then go to the pull request that Andrew raised, and then I went to file changes and looked through, and on the top right, I went to approve. It's grayed out here because you can't approve your own pull request, and I approved it. But now I approved it from my computer, logged in as me, and it does say down here, let me just keep the chat so I can see if anyone's writing to me on the computer. This is just a suggestion, just one upload. Not sure what that means. Sorry, Novaz, I might have missed a chat before. Oh, here we go. Novaz says, I've missed lots of chat. Sorry, all. What's the conceptual takeaway that we should remove specs? Because we're not going to use them. That's the only reason why we're removing them. We aren't going to do any spec testing. We're going to do full end-to-end testing in the browser. So that's the reason why we removed them. They're not bad. It's just not something we're going to do for this application. There's no complicated business logic where you want to test, say, there will be boundary conditions we want to test, but there won't be any business logic within, I guess, classes that we want to spec out. Thanks for the DM on Instagram. Awesome. Do you guys have planned to live stream with React in the future? Not really. We're Angular people. React for small projects, fine. But because a lot of our projects are quite large, Angular we feel is better for that. It's more laid out. It's a framework, whereas React's a library. So we want people to realize that Angular is just as easy as React. So we probably focus more on that. This is a suggestion, just one upload. Not sure what that means, Novaz, if you could elaborate. Elliot says, noob question. There are no noob questions. After 15 years, I'm still asking those noob questions. What is the main thing to think about when creating issues? Are we creating to-dos or what? Great question. So We usually get, as people contribute more to issues, we'll make it more strict. But for now, we can keep it quite simple, as in we can create templates on GitHub. So when you do raise an issue, it asks you, is it a bug? Is it a feature? Is it an epic? Is it an idea? And you can create all these templates. So when you choose one, it will kind of create a template for you, and you can fill in the details. But for now, don't worry, take it easy. We can always edit it and improve it and so forth. So we're pretty easygoing. So do raise an issue with any ideas. If you do want to raise an issue to get your daily open source contribution in the green square, then ones we need raised for, the ones on the whiteboard, which I know I'm sorry you can't see very well, it will be the Angular top one, and TypeScript is kind of done, but we'll need one for Cypress, so to add Cypress to the project. So just a ticket, just for the title, you could write Cypress. And then in the body, if you put a link to the Cypress website, therefore anyone else comes across to it, they can find the documentation. Anyone else who wants to raise an issue, we need one for integrate with CI, will be another issue. Also another one would be
Publish the actual deployment.
Yeah, the deployment as well. So deploy CD, so the deployment side after CI.
Probably want to remove some of the Angular HTML that it produced and just put something of our own site up there.
That's true, yeah. We probably want to customize. We will get into how to build a website from that, but for now we probably just want to at least change a bit of the site. Actually, which is showing on the screen now, it says welcome to Code Mortals with the Angular logo. We could put our mascot in there instead, because we've got that, and change some of the links at the bottom, put links to maybe our social. So we'll do some of that as well. So if I go back to the pull request, it's got one approval that you can see at the bottom. And Andrew's scroll is backwards, so I've got to scroll down to scroll up. And then I will hit merge as Andrew, which Andrew can merge his pull request because I approved it on my computer. Choose which email address, yeah. So confirm. So now that's merged, so Andrew can now branch off the default branch. No. How many commits did you do?
Or rebase and merge. Well, if you do a normal merge, it adds another commit to the history.
Yeah, it gives you more credit. Get more green squares.
Keep things tidy.
Let's keep things simple for now. We'll go into squashing and so forth. So should we swap places, new drive again? I was going to create an issue, wasn't I? No, I'll let the audience create an issue. Let's swap places, but I'm going to hop across with my dodgy back. Oh, you moved the chair further away, trying to make it more exciting for me. More challenging, okay. So we've got some more things in the chat. So Tanya writes, issues can be bugs, to-dos, etc. Labels help identify what the issue is. So yeah, Tanya's absolutely right. Issues are literally everything, and labels do help identify what it is, and then you can filter via labels if you want to see what all the defects are, or bugs are, or epics, or ideas, or questions. So we need to sort out our issues. I do need to do that. Sort out our labels, sorry. So we do have some default labels, but we want to add more. Novaz, so Restream is a service where you can stream to that, and they stream out your video to your account. So you could stream YouTube and Twitch at the same time, and it'd just be one upstream. Yeah, I've heard, Novaz, that's a great idea. I have heard of that, and I've heard some negative as well, as in you split your audience. So yeah, I think it's pretty good at the beginning to try and cast your net wide, but then we really want to focus. We're focusing on YouTube, but there's something we should look into. You're absolutely right. Thank you for raising that. That's a really good idea. Elliot says he's raised 37 for deployment. Awesome. Thank you, Elliot. That's great. We should start adding people as well to the organization, so you can build up the community, not just on Slack, but also on GitHub. What are you up to? Are you tapping away?
So I've just pushed up the removal part for removing the tests, and I'm going to raise another pull request now. So I hope you're on top
another
of
pull request.
Ready to accept or review this.
Elliot,
I found a vulnerability, so GitHub reckons there's a problem somewhere, even though we only just created this. Somewhere deep down, we could have a look and see what's going on. Let's not worry about that right now.
I was just going to say, Elliot, are you in front of a computer? You've raised an issue. Should we add you to the organization and you can approve the PR? What do you think? Get community involved a bit more?
As a collaborator, right?
Yeah, let's just have a look and see. What do you think, Elliot? Good idea? He's written 100, but I think that was from a previous comment. That was there already. No, I think that was there already.
Maybe.
As in before I asked the question.
There's a few seconds lag, so yeah, chances are.
Yes, because you're only just on the issue bit now. How are we doing on time? At 7:30. Okay, we need to race ahead. Let's go.
Okay, so next up, let's add Cypress, I guess, or should we
Let's
change
do
the
it.
page? Okay.
Let's add Cypress. Let's add Cypress. So therefore, we can change. You can get the check for the maybe the.
We want the CI in there because we can get the CI to do the build and deployment, and then add Cypress as a check step. I normally
What do you
actually
think?
do the deployment first, but
We both got to do. We got to do both. Let's do
we
the
need CI
deployment.
running. People are probably more interested to see the CI getting up and running because then we can enhance the CI with the additional checks from Cypress.
True.
Okay,
Okay,
let's
let's
do
do that. Where are we hosting it to? Though? So okay, CI,
Oh.
Travis or Circle. Andrew wants Circle. No.
Rock paper scissors.
I'm making my piece. We use Circle
Okay.
if we use Firebase for hosting. How fancy is that? I mean, come on, giving you one. You got to give me one. What do you all reckon? I'll put the microphone.
I think you should just let me win every time. That's normally what I go for in the day. So.
We could say we could fight for it, but with my bad back, it's not.
Well, I was
fair.
going rock paper scissors, but
I think the audience should decide. Shout out at the camera and let us know. That's not going to work. That's a really stupid idea. Okay. Rock, paper, scissors. Yes, I'm here. Yes, what do you need from me? We're going to get you to approve the PRs. But okay, before we get there,
we're going rock paper scissors for Circle versus Travis, or are we going to just go? With
I think we just go for Circle.
Okay.
And then we
What
go
about
with five.
Firebase? We're going rock paper scissors on that.
No, we can't, you can't have double standards.
There we go.
I let you win my pawn so I can take your queen.
Yeah, the problem is I wouldn't then set up a GCP account and stuff.
No, I've got all that. I'll do all that.
Wait, but on Code Mortals, have we got it all set up?
I'll just do it under mine. Because then you have to put a credit card in and stuff, no?
Don't know.
I was trying to keep it simple.
So was I. Have a think, because
Okay.
we need someone to deploy to. It should really be a Code Mortals account.
It should be. With your credit card.
Always a
Okay,
catch.
Elliot, I'm going to
Fine.
add you.
I'll get started on the CI. So, first thing that we're going to need if we're using Circle is a Circle YAML file. Okay. Now, how much can I remember off the top of my head? Probably not very much for setting one of these up. So you want to go docs wise, okay? Rather than me cheating and going to a previous project.
Yeah, go to the doc, so people know where to look and so
Yeah,
forth.
fair enough. So yeah, so Circle, I can go to the app, and there's loads of projects on the app, and hopefully it does know that I have access to Code Mortal somewhere down here. And no, it doesn't. Why doesn't it?
You might have to refresh. See, Travis would be fine. It's Circle.
I'm just down as a member for some reason. Why am I not an admin? I need to be marked as an owner. I think that might be you, Eddie. You set up the GitHub project, right?
Did I?
Yeah, let me have a look.
I will fix it.
No, I am down as an owner.
Yeah, see, that's not.
Why am I
I'm
not
gonna put that
public?
public. So I'm inclusive. I include everyone as owner.
Yeah, okay. So it's not that.
Elliot, I've just added you to the organisation. You should get an invite, and if you accept the invite, then you can go to the pull requests and approve Andrew's pull request. Just it's not always just me. Get people mixing it, and we can put some comments. Anyone can comment though. You don't have to be part of the organisation.
Let me go to the docs anyway. Well, can you have a look into Circle and see if you can follow the project on Circle for me?
Okay, cool. Post CI email about code quality. Cool. 39. Thanks for raising that. Got 14 people now watching. Give us some thumbs up. That will really help. And don't forget to subscribe to both channels. Mine, which we're streaming on now, as well as Code Mortals, where we'll be streaming in the future. If you scroll up, it's just further up the chat.
Okay, so
Circle.
Circle has lots of documentation. I'm going to just go to their sample config file, and I guess I will grab the top one for the moment. We don't need anything too complicated for the minute.
Let's keep it simple, yeah.
So I'm going to grab that and paste that in. I don't need the test step right now, so I'm going to take that out. Now, Circle has all sorts of images we can use. We effectively want one for Node. So I believe I can just say Node. Current LTS is 10, so I'm just going to say Node version 10. Then steps that we can configure. First step will be to check it out. The next step will probably be something on the lines of an npm install. We then probably are going to want to do an npm build. So if I just go to the code, we can see in the package JSON here, the build will just run an ng build command. That's fine, we don't need anything clever right now. So So we'll do that. So run npm run build. So note that I have to put the word run in there for build. There are only two special npm commands, which are start and test. Anything else requires the word run in there. For those that aren't familiar with npm, I'm sure most people are.
I have now fixed Circle, I think. I need to give permission to the organization Code Mortals, because now on GitHub, when you add an app, by default, it doesn't give access to all your organizations. You have to actually manually approve it.
Awesome. So let's just start with that, shall we? Just a simple build, no deployment going on.
Just check the code build. Sounds good.
And yeah, with any luck, it will come back with an OK on that. So again, have we got an issue for this? I can probably put it under deployment, right? But there was a deployment issue raised, I believe.
But this is not the deployment one though. This is running the build.
It is just running the build, you're right.
Yeah, it's just running the build. Yeah.
How's that pull request looking? Still review required on the previous one.
Okay.
Post CI email about testing. So, shall I create one? Set up CI.
Do it.
Okay.
Do it. Yeah. I should have mentioned that for someone else. Set up Cypress. Someone else wants to raise that. Ow, looking around, killed my back. Setting up Cypress. I think we've got one for deployment. We didn't have one for CI, which Andrew's just created. And if we can have one, if someone can raise an issue for customizing the homepage, the default Angular page. You don't have to put all the details in. I know we'll do some fancy website. But for now, let's just put some of the social links on there or something. Just raise an issue. You can't get it wrong. Raise it. You get your open source GitHub contribution for today.
Okay, so this was issue 40. And I'll push that up. That's right.
Oh, did you put two-factor authentication on the organization on GitHub? Elliot's setting it up now. We're quite...
We should have it turned on.
Yeah, I think we do because he's setting it up. Yeah, we're quite strict on our organization. Sorry, but you'll thank us later. Trust me, your clients will be happy in the future. It's better practice.
We do have it turned on, yes. So yeah, another one for anyone that does run an organization. A lot of people don't require it, but belts and braces is always good, especially if the code repository is central to what you're doing. Turn two-factor authentication on. It's for your own good as well. Look after your identity on the internet. Okay. So I should... Did I get as far as pushing it? Yeah, I should have pushed another branch up. So again, I can go, and I've now lost GitHub because I had it open on here. No.
You busted it.
No, I was moving around too many windows too quickly. Right, okay. Pull requests. That one's still review required. I have got a notification saying it's noticed my other one though. So I will raise a, well, I won't raise a PR yet actually. What we need to do now is back to Circle. I don't know if it's going to show me it. Show me it, please. Yes. Right, so I can see Code Mortals on here now. At the moment, Code Mortals is not following any GitHub projects. So under Settings and Projects, I can see the Code Mortals GitHub IO one. And I should be able to go into the config for it and tell it to follow the projects. Yeah. So I hit follow. And now if I go back to the jobs list, I can see there is a queued build on master. However, it won't build master because master's got nothing in it. And I don't think it's not going to pick up the branch, is it? Because it doesn't pick up branches by default until it's got the until it's following it. So I'm going to have to give it a nudge with something. What can we nudge it with?
That's why you should start with CI first, probably, even before you put Angular in, actually. Maybe we've learned something tonight as well. What about starting with an empty project that's just got Circle's config?
Yeah, I mean, start with just the CI is fine. Yeah, I mean, we're trying to start as early in the project as possible. I was adding a couple of line breaks. I normally put a couple of line breaks in here anyway. What we're going to do is squash this down when we merge it. So whatever commits I put in are going to largely disappear. Git out or git commit. Added spacing. Alright, that should give the CI a nudge, hopefully.
We've got like 9 people watching and 12 or 14 a minute ago. We're doing pretty good for our first Code Mortals stream, not on Code Mortals channel. If that makes any sense.
Okay, so first one should have failed. That's good. There we go. Right, it's picked up issue 40 because I've just pushed a very small change up. With any luck, there's no build error. No, good. So we can watch the CI and it will just show us what happens. So checks out the code, just running an npm install. Probably take it about 15 seconds or so to do that. It's normally quite quick.
If you have any questions, don't forget to write it in the chat. So we're showing you the CI part, so it's going to build the code. But any questions, write it in the chat and we'll explain more. But CI is going to keep it really quite basic at the moment. We're just doing the build, which yes, you can do locally, but and it has passed. But we want to do so many more. We run automated tests. We want to do deployment, so that will be coming soon. Hopefully we can get a bit of that done tonight.
Yep, so that's created everything, so that's all we wanted. What I can now do is I can go over to GitHub and I can actually update our branch rule for master. And let's edit that. And with any luck, it should show me that there's some CI builds going on. Here we go. So one of them is a build error. We're not interested in that one. What we are interested in is the CI build one. So we're saying, yep, we want that to have passed. I'm not going to say up to date because up to date is not too important unless there's a lot of people involved. And now if I save that, what we should be able to also see is when I raise this pull request, which I'm going to do now. What I'll do is I will call it the name of the first commit. Oh, okay, it's not up to date. So this branch at the moment is not up to date with the main branch. And in essence, this is this one, right? The CI build. Okay, and this will close issue 40. So this is why the order of PRs is going to become important, because I'm raising this PR, but it still knows about the previous change I made because I'm just branching off the same branch. But I can still raise it. It doesn't cause a problem. GitHub at the moment notices that I've got other changes in here that aren't in master. If this was to get merged first, it would already bring those over, and it would effectively mark the other PR as not having anything in there.
So that's why if you branch off a branch, you need to merge in order. Otherwise, it voids the previous branches and PRs. So just bear that in mind. What have you done? What have you done?
I've jumped the gun slightly. So even though this hasn't been approved yet, which we did still need an approval on,
I can do it now.
this I won't be able to merge it because I've just added a branch protection rule, but this hasn't got any tests in it. So I'm going to have to just turn that back off again for a second.
See, even after 30 years combined, we still make mistakes. But as long as you know how to kind of fix it, know about the risks, knock-on effects, it's just all experience.
I'll call it Eddie's just behind because he's too busy talking. Yeah, I've said about 3 times now we need this PR.
I was waiting for Elliot. Okay, I'll do it now. Elliot, you can do the next one. We've already got another one kind of in the pipeline.
Quick fire, we're here.
Little and often, right? Little and often. I'm the bottleneck at the moment.
As fast as I can.
So which one do you want me to approve? 38?
So 38 needs an approval.
The chore.
So
okay.
Take a look at the code. Obviously, you can basically see what we've removed, which is all the test stuff. Again, test lint checks that go on. There's the E2E test. We just cleared out all the tests for the moment. We're going to put some back in. And yeah, obviously all the files that were associated are listed out there as well.
Approved and merged.
Cool. So if I go back to the PRs now, I should see just the one PR, and there's no longer as many. Oh, it's still picking them up. GitHub's being a bit slow about it. But it should know that that has now got part of the code in there.
2:45 in the morning, Carl. Wow. Man, you're a machine. That's like I'll be getting up at that time. That's like really late.
Okay, I'm just turning back the branch protection rule again. So the other PR, how's that looking? Are we happy with this one? Are you going to give me an approval on it?
Oh, let's have a look. Elliot, if you're still doing 2FA, I can review this one, and you can do the one afterwards. There will be more. So you've got 11 file changes set up at the build project. I know you can't see my screen, but you saw Andrew make these changes. Looks okay. I think you need to update it, actually. It's got...
yeah, I can do that.
It has the changes from the previous one.
It's still noticing the previous ones because we just need to do a rebase against it, really. So I can check out master locally. I can do a git pull on that. Put my password in. And then if I go back to the branch, which be issue 40, right? And then I do a git rebase with master. Shouldn't have any problems with it. It's done it straight away, and I can just do a git push, and we have to force that up because we've rebased it to origin issue 40.
Yes, rebase is really powerful, but never use rebase when you're working with someone else on the branch. So on your default branches, your mainline branches, don't rebase. But if it's your branch just for your feature and you want to rewrite history and rebase and do all some funky stuff, go ahead. But do not do it if anyone else has that branch unless they're happy to have the history changed.
It's not a huge issue on branches anyway, because at the end of the day, you can just delete the branch locally and then recreate it. But if you did have active work because you haven't been pushing frequently, then yeah, that can become a bigger issue. But yeah, try and only do it with branches that it's just you working on, or you're at least in communication with the other person so they accept that you're going to be doing that, because it can be destructive. I have witnessed plenty of projects where people just default to force pushing changes, which is another reason to protect your main branch, because then it prevents anyone from force pushing to your main branch. You certainly don't want to lose any of the really important stuff, because generally a branch shouldn't have that much in it anyway, although we know from experience that you do get the occasional large PR. And I have never made a PR larger than, I don't know, 50,000 lines.
50,000 lines. You heard it from the horse's mouth. That's the expression, right? Yeah. 50,000 lines. That's crazy. That's additions. Imagine deletions. He works too hard. He should talk more. Work less. So, okay, I want to approve it. Elliot says he's having some issues with his two-factor authentication. So let me approve that. You said you've updated it. Did a force push.
Yeah, so now it just says there's one file change, which
one
is
file
basically the new CI file.
Let's do it. So now, if we approve this, we're going to have CI. So see how simple it is to get CI working on your project.
It's only doing a very basic check for it. It's making sure the project builds, but Angular internally we know is doing a load of checks on the code. So we know TypeScript is compiling, and we'll effectively have a web page at the end of it that would load. There may be an error on the page because we're not testing it yet, but at least we know it does build and passes, let's say, check 1, which is the most basic check that any project should really do this, because, as you say, it's dead easy. Well, why not just put it in there? It's a very simple, quick check that saves another developer that's going to pick it up from being able to run it locally.
And we are going to add some more exciting checks shortly, and you'll see the browser driving up and the mouse moving, clicking without us driving it. We will show you that. I don't know if we're going to get time today.
It might not be today's stream. Might be next week. So when we're on Code Mortals next week, we might add the testing side. Then let's try and get the deployment now, and maybe just change the opening page to not say Angular and say something else. But yeah,
good.
We'll just get that deployment going, right? So what are we going to deploy to? What have you decided?
Excuse me. I already decided Firebase. I don't know what you decided.
Okay, well, we are a G Suite user at the end of the day, so in theory we should be able to do that. Yeah, okay.
Let's do it. We want some real-time comms with people, in terms of on the platform. So I think it would be useful to put it there. Yes, we can move it later on from GitHub Pages to Firebase, but let's do it.
I'm just wondering what's going to happen on here. Right, in terms of service, so we've never actually been onto here, so this is the first time this account has been near here.
But it's really good. People can see how to set up. So we've done CI.
Until he gets to my card details, in which case I might have to swap the feed over.
I can talk. I can be a filler.
We don't want any of that. Yeah, we'll agree to them. I've done this before. There's nothing too worrying in there.
So Elliot, no worries. We can have a look later on, or we can have a look offline, and we can chat on Slack and try and sort out your 2FA. Novaz, can you use CircleCI to push to a live FTP server if the build completes? Yep, you can get it to push to FTP, to GitHub Pages, to Firebase, to AWS. There's so many things. It can go to anywhere you want. Circle and Travis usually have a lot of deployment kind of config where you can just optionally choose where it goes, but then you can do a custom one if you really need to do something really custom. And we're not huge fans of FTP because FTP is quite insecure. So usually we use like the AWS CLI or Firebase CLI or just Git itself, because Git runs over SSH. So therefore we could push to GitHub Pages on success.
You have to remind me, when we go into GCP, we need an organization. created, right?
I do Firebase. Don't do GCP. Keep it simple. I saw that face. Don't judge Firebase. What do you think of Firebase? Tell us.
No problems with that, but I think we've got the same problem as such as far as setting things up. Let's go look. Ooh, we need to go to different accounts.
Firebase was just dead simple. I don't know why I didn't use it sooner. AWS and GCP and Azure are really powerful, but Firebase is just so simple. It just works. It's pretty awesome. And this is free, right? Yeah, everything we're doing is free. Yeah, there's a really generous free tier on CircleCI or on Travis.
GCP,
and
what we're using, the hosting, I believe there is a free tier,
and
unless you get really big traffic going.
well, I've got 5 sites I use for development testing and so forth on Firebase, and I haven't been charged a penny. And we're hitting it quite a lot with quite a few people. So, well, quite a few, like 5-10 people, but with functions running in the background and on crons and stuff. So yeah, they're really generous, tier. Oh, okay, Andrew, you might have a friend. So Deploy HQ. Novaz, when you say you've been using Deploy HQ, is that to actually do the deployment? So you go from CI to Deploy HQ to your deployment, to your kind of hosting platform. Venkatesh, it's cool, has lots of features. And Novez says Firebase is equal to terrible. Oh, wow. What do you think? I know there are limitations, and I see your face.
Oh, it wasn't my choice, Firebase.
And then Venkatesh comes back with AWS has lots of hidden costs. It does. Firebase, I think, is, for 9 times out of 10, for most people, it's enough. If you want, it does a lot of heavy lifting for you. So if you want, for example, SSL on a custom domain, you can get it, but it's a shared SSL. Whereas if you want your own cert, and just having some trouble, you spelled your name wrong.
Well, no. Let me begin this time. I did the same thing. The first time round, it said you can't do this, and this time around, it's letting me do it. So I was going to wonder if there a billing thing I need to do, but okay.
Okay, cool. And then if you want a custom certificate, SSL certificate on your domain, then yes, you'll need to go to GCP and do some more manual setup. You can't use Firebase for that. So there are limitations, but for most people, they're not going to want to create their own certificate and use. What's that thing where you can create a free certificate?
You've got Let's Encrypt.
Let's Encrypt, that's the one. But most people aren't going to want to do that, really. Venkatesh supports Firebase. Thank you. I'm new to Firebase, but I think it's pretty cool. For most projects, it's pretty good. And you can always move over to AWS or GCP if you need to.
Okay, so we're going to be using the hosting part. And sorry, whilst Eddie was talking, I have clicked a little bit. Under Develop, there's a hosting section. If we click Get Started in the hosting section, it will tell us we need to install the Firebase tools. It asks you to do it globally, but because we want the CI to also be able to do this, I'm actually going to install it within the project as a dev dependency.
And you can do NPX to run it.
We can run the tools to do the deployment. Yeah. So I will do an npm I save dev for Firebase. Was it tools or CLI? Tools. Okay, so that's the first step. Now, it's been a little while since I've done this. I'm trying to remember the other steps we have to do. We have to go through a few things, so we continue.
I can get them out.
We need to get some keys, don't we? So we have to sign in. We have to get a CI key.
Yeah. Yes, you do, and I can't remember the command either.
Yeah, I'm just thinking it'll come up on the screen when I do it. That's the only thing I was thinking. But I can always change it after this session to something different.
Okay.
Okay, so I will run npx. So I've only installed the Firebase tools to this project, but if I use npx, I can still run the Firebase command straight out of here. Already logged in as someone else. Ooh, can I do a log out then? Okay, I'll log in. Collect anonymous information. No, thank you.
No, you're not supporting the developers.
Not today. Okay, CLI for this one. Yep, done. Right. So we're logged in. Now there is another command we have to run in a minute. We'll find that in a sec. Firebase init. Right. Yep, we'll do that. So this will initialize us for Firebase's hosting, and it will ask us a few questions.
I think, should we say no to some things now, or do you want to say yes to things now and we'll add them later? What do you reckon? Like, for example, database. I think we should say no to...
Yeah, let's not worry about anything else right now.
Keep it really simple.
We don't even know if we're going to use Firebase long term. We'll see.
Oh.
use at least one feature. Use spacebar.
You didn't. You
Yeah.
didn't select.
Let's not enter it. Spacebar to pick them. Right, hosting is all we want for now. Okay, so that will go and do some stuff. We will say, what do you want to do for the default project? So yep, so it's picked up. I've created a project on GCP Firebase called Code Models website. So I'm going to use that one, and it picked that up. So you want to use your public directory. I will change that manually in a minute. So the default will be fine. Configure a single page app. Yes, we do. Yep, that's it. So Firebase should now be configured on the project. So if I was to go over to Visual Studio, we will see in here a Firebase JSON file. Now, actually, when we do a build, I believe it goes into a .dist folder, which is why I didn't pick it, because I want to double check. So if we just do an npm run build locally, I think we can change the config for this in the Angular JSON. I could go find it, in fact.
Keep it vanilla as much as possible. What have I missed that? Sorry, I was looking at my phone.
So the output folder is dist/code morsels. I'm actually going to change that. I'm going to drop the code model, just make it dist, because we're not going to have lots of projects going on. If I was creating libraries as well and all the rest of it inside there, I might want a longer path, but it's just a single one. It's just there's only going to be one app for this. There's not going to be lots of other things for libraries and things. We're not sharing out libraries. I mean, that's the nice thing with Angular. You can build libraries. So I'm just going to change that to the dist folder, in which case I should be able to guess that the value here will be dist. Ignore everything else. Yeah, it's only the index file we're interested in. That will do for now. Right, so from there, we could just run Firebase deploy from my computer, but we're not going to do that. We're going to run that from the CI. Okay, so it comes up with a default domain. We will have to connect up some other domains later. Now I've got to think for a moment. What do we have to do? So I need to get a CI key, and I will go and check this on the internet. So Firebase, login CI. I think actually, I think I might know it. I think it's npx Firebase login :CI.
You remember everything. You got that right as well. How do you remember these things? He's like just remembers everything. He even remembers people's names from years ago. From we met at Hackathon like once. Like seriously.
Yeah. So that command npx Firebase login :CI.
That's a private token.
Generated a token which I should not really be sharing, but we will use it for the minute, and I will go and generate a brand new one in a little while.
Okay,
so
cool.
It will be dead shortly. Okay. So to do the deployment, we can add this command in, and what we do actually is I'm going to take this token, and I'm going to go over to the CI. I've got lots of windows open, and within settings, so this is where Circle can manage settings for you. And I like to use, there's two places we can manage environment variables. I like to use context for things, because that's a more private area that only owners effectively can manage context, and you can create, in fact, it's upset with me on here. We need to sort out my permissions. But for the moment, what we will do is within this project, we can just do manual environment variables just for this project, which will also be used. And I'm going to add one called Firebase key. I'm going to paste in the value. Circle does obfuscate a chunk of that, so if I ever want to change it, which I will be doing, I have to create a brand new one. But that's now available as an environment variable on the CI, so that will pick up when we run the script. Okay. So let's go.
Hope you're all following this, because you're going to not only contribute to our project, we want you to start your own projects, and we want you to use CI, and we want you to deploy as well on successful build and run automated tests. And you don't have to use these tools. So if you don't want to use Cypress and you want to use something like Selenium or WebDriver, you also can, or Protractor. If you want to use Travis instead of Circle, you also can. If you want to host on GitHub Pages or AWS, you also can. So I think host it wherever you want. This is just showing you the workflow, and it's always best to get that hello world going through the pipeline and deploying out, and so you can see straight away, and then for any future changes, you know if it's broken that pipeline. Have you broken something?
No, I'm just now thinking, because I haven't run one of these up for a little while, or written one from scratch for a little while, whether that's the correct token. So I might cheat and look at another project if you're all right with that.
Yeah, do it. we're running it short on time. It's already 8 o'clock in the UK, and it's probably 3 a.m. in, I think, the Far East. We've got Carl from the Far East. So, yeah, it's quite late, and I'm guessing with people like Elliot on the West, to the States, I'm guessing it's probably like, I don't know, 3 in the afternoon as a guess. So yes, we're probably going to stream for a maximum of another 20-30 minutes, but we really want to get it deployed, and then we'll make some changes to the front end, just I don't know, add some social links or something, and we'll show you that on a successful build it automatically deploys out, and you can view it. We'll share the link in the chat so you can view the website and view the changes. And if you want to raise a PR on the project, you can, and once it gets approved and merged, it will automatically deploy out, so your changes will be live on the site. Therefore, going forwards, if anyone wants to contribute, it's just seamless process. And then when we add automated testing, it's going to get really sexy.
I'm glad you're excited.
I am. I'm really tired. I've been up since 3 a.m., but I am still excited. This stuff floats my boat.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens, because the previous projects I've done, there's normally multiple environments as such for different things, but I believe we're going to just want to deploy to the default, which I think is just going to be called Code Model's website. So I'm going to add another environment variable for that, and if it doesn't work, we'll have to have a little bit more of a look into that. But yeah, so generally we're just saying use that token, and again we deploy using that token, but all we're doing here is telling it to set up which target environment. And that, we won't have time on this stream to talk about it, but we will talk about when you've got multiple environments, production, develop, how would you manage multiple environments. I believe that because I haven't set up the multiple environments yet, it will just pick off that name. Okay. Where am I going? Confuse myself. Oh yes, we need to set up some values on the CI. Where's the CI gone? New variable.
Which variable is setting up now?
So this is the target environment one, which I think we just call what we got.
I think I hard-coded that in my project.
Yeah, probably. Because it depends how many environments you're running to, right? Or if you've got different projects you're deploying to, depends which way you're doing it.
Yeah, I was deploying to two, not one project, but two environments. So I just put minus project.
Oh, you actually, okay.
And just put it in. Yeah, I didn't see the need for that, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, this is where we would run different contexts for things normally, rather than, because this environment variable would be shared by every build. Whereas in the context, you can specify only run this context for this branch build. So I would normally put the target environment into the context and then say, right, we're deploying to develop or production, but we need to sort out permissions and things. So we can look at that on the next stream, and we'll go into some of the more advanced options you can do.
Venkatesh says he's new to Circle, waiting to hear more about it. What do you normally use? Do you normally use Travis? I mean, I use Circle. We use Circle with our clients. I know Andrew uses Circle for his own project. I'm more of a Travis fan. I think it's just a bit simpler and does what I need. But it's interesting to know what you would compare it with. I have my Jenkins cap with me. No, I don't. I could have put my Jenkins cap on. It's just not another CI. And Adash, have I pronounced your name right? Hello, thanks for joining. You're coming towards the end of the stream, but yeah, hopefully you'll see things come together and working. We have had a few technical challenges, be it with the camera, be it with audio, be it with a few other things. I can't remember what it was.
Yep, so I'm just reviewing what files have changed. So package JSON, yeah, I expect that to change. Package lock has changed. We've added a Firebase JSON. We've updated the Circle to include it. We have changed the Angular JSON just to change the target folder that it gets deployed out to. And Firebase, when we ran the initialization, has created this Firebase RC file, which we could have a look into. There's actually two. You've got the Firebase JSON, which is set up. This is a hosting project. There's a dist folder it's going to use. Ignore some of these, rewrite stuff for the single page app. And the Firebase RC is basically just saying what the project name is. Actually, that might be right. I think it might be default we have to put in the CI. I think it's the value in here. So I'm going to go change that CI before we run this. I think target environment, which is why we don't actually normally need to specify this. If you only got default, it would use that anyway. It's default. thing is, you set these things up once, you get it working, you forget all about it. So
Yeah, once you've got it set up, you might come back and tweak it slightly if you're making a change, but it's rare. So if you've got a project that lasts 6 months, a year, then you don't come back to this. So we don't do this that often, although we do it for every project. It's just not done that often because how often do you start a new project?
Once every 6 months probably, or if you're Eddie, once every 3 weeks.
Dashboard Hub is on the 11th version, and we're sticking with the version we've got. We're building on it. There is a prototype, so we are going to have to come back and rejig some things. But that's a different discussion. I will probably do a live stream on that, because I've got to deploy into different environments for different branches.
You do need to use the issue number that Elliot raised. Have we merged this one? Yeah, we've merged that one.
Oh, please hold the mic closer to Andrew.
Sorry, I will try and... Well, we're going to get another mic next time, so I'm not going to try and shout louder. Eddie just has to remember where he's aiming his microphone.
My aim's not so good.
Okay.
2 mics next time, definitely.
37, right. So this is the issue raised by Elliot for the deployment. So I'm going to create a branch called... So I've just copied what I was writing. I'm going to just check out issue 37.
But to be honest, you don't really need to hear what Andrew's saying. I don't know what he's doing. He's just bashing on the keyboard and it's just hitting some random keys.
Just updating myself against develop as well, because I'm not up to date against develop.
And he doesn't even know which branch you're tracking. Andrew, we're really tired. We're making mistakes. People watching, please, can you fix this? But see, even people with 15 years, so if there's any juniors and middleweights watching, going, oh, I've got, ask a simple question, oh, I make mistakes, I need to ask for help. We still make mistakes. We still do it. So, if you ever get stuck on anything, do ask for help. Let them know what you've tried. Do say, oh, I've tried this and it didn't work. This is the error I've get. What else can I try? Don't just say, it doesn't work, I've got an error. Then it's a bit frustrating for the other person. But don't worry, do ask for help. People usually want to help.
Right, so I had to do a couple of things. I was using the name develop rather than master, because normally we create a develop and a production branch rather than calling things master. So I was trying to get the wrong one, which is why the target was failing. Right. I needed to stash my changes, because otherwise I couldn't do a pull. So I just did a stash, went to develop, pulled down the changes, updated issue 37 branch against develop and unstashed, and now I'm going to do that.
We raced through that quite quickly, just to give you an idea of, for those who don't know what stash is, you can if you've got changes that you haven't committed yet but you don't want to lose them, you can just put them into a holding place, which is called a stash, and then you can do what you need to do, and then you can bring the stash back. And the command for that is git stash. We'll just take all the changes and stash it. Any untracked files will not be stashed, so it's only tracked files. And then when you want the changes back, you do git stash pop. If you do have a conflict or something goes wrong, you don't lose the information in the stash. So you could always abort what you were doing, and you've still got the information in the stash. Or you can create a patch. Creating a patch is quite nice because it gives you a file. So like you do git diff, but then you would pipe that to a file, and later on you can reapply that patch if you need to. But we can do more details on that in the future.
Cool. So I'm just going over to the CI, and we're going to see how this goes as a bit of a guess. We know that it was working fine to the build step, so this next one should go through okay.
So it's rebuilding now again, and then it's going to do a deployment, which it failed. But the build passed, so the code we know compiles and it works. It's just a deployment step. And usually the first time it fails with some token issues or some other issues in this situation.
Right, okay. I put in Firebase token in the code for some reason, but I called it Firebase key when I created it. So
I didn't spot that, and you didn't spot that either. I thought you were watching, Andrew. We're more than pair programming. We're pair programming with 10 people as well, and we're still making mistakes. So again, it proves that we are code mortals, right? We're just mortal. There's no ninjas or rock stars or any of that bullshit words. If I walk into a room and someone wants to speak highly of me and say, "Oh, this is Eddie, he's our rock star," I'm like, please never say that. That is like BS. That is people trying to, big themselves up and inflate it. It's just we're all coders. Doesn't matter what level you're at, senior, middleweight, junior. It's we're all code mortals.
But the good thing is, once you've got it working, you don't have to worry about it anymore, because every deployment will go through the same flow. There's no manual making these mistakes again. So we're all humans, mortals, and once you've got the CI working, you're in the world of the machines, and obviously machines never make mistakes, right? That's why we trust AI, and when Terminator comes around and all the rest, it's all going to be good, yeah?
But it's a bit different, right? It's ignoring the A part and Terminator and Skynet. It's repeatable, right? So if it passes and there's no changes, it will always pass again, always pass again. So it's repeatable, and that's what we want. We want that reliability. So if we make changes, we want to know that the only thing that's changed is our change. There's nothing else in the system. So if you test something manually or deploy something manually, you could make a mistake. You could type a command differently. You could type it in the wrong order. There's various things you could do.
Especially seeing as most of us work in the middle of the night and we're very tired. So these kinds of protections are very good when you've got them working.
Yeah. So now you can see CI is building and it's doing npm install. So you see the different sections, and then hopefully the deployment will work.
Unfortunately, it only takes a few seconds. So.
I see the chat's really quiet. Any questions? Are we speaking too fast? Have we made you all fall asleep? Have we fallen asleep and we're talking gibberish? Let us know.
Okay, the build's going through. We're just about there, right?
Okay, the deployment. Ready, countdown. 3, 2, 1. It's looking good. You got some
Loading files. So we've got all greens.
all green.
The question is, did we have it configured right? So when we go here, is there actually going to be a website?
Let's go check if there's a website. And we can share a link with you and you can check it too.
Which one do you want to use? We'll use the Firebase app one, or they've got 2 links they give you now. They usually only be one. I'll go for this one.
Yes, do you see that? We have a working website deployed. So now we're going to make a change and prove to you that now it's set up. It's so simple to do. Race forward. Not walk forward, race forward. So let me share that. Have you got the chat open? Can you share it in the chat?
No, I don't actually have the chat open. I can share it to you on Slack.
Yeah, and I can copy it in.
Got your stream key on there still, but that will change.
Cool. So, just going to share that in the chat now. And so you all can see that that is live. So this is the website. It's not a custom domain, but if you did that share correctly, yes. So if you click that, you'll see what we're seeing on the screen. So now, can someone make a code change? Why don't we ask someone to make a code change and we can review it and get it deployed?
First of all, we need to get this PR up because we've now got a working piece of code. We need to get this merged.
Is it not done yet?
Now, there is one more thing to say before we do that, and that is right now, any branch would do a deployment right now.
Oh yes, that's true. We can lock it down.
So we don't want that. So we can go over to the docs. Circle's docs will tell us. Possibly lower down in here. Yeah, so down in here, we can add various checks. So we can say when it's running a particular job, it needs to require a particular one to have passed first. So if you've got a workflow going on, you can say first build it, then test it, then deploy it. If you want to run things in parallel, you might say build it, test it, and also create a docs output, then deploy it. There's various ways you can run.
We'll add some cool docs sometime soon. I'll show you how to do that.
But yeah, the one that I'm actually interested in is this filters one. So we want to only do a deployment if they've got, basically I can just copy this straight out, right? Because it's just filters for the branch master, because we haven't changed the branch name yet. We will change it at some point though, because otherwise I will get confused as we work on different projects. But I can drop that straight in there to say only run this when it's on master. So when I push this up in a minute, you'll see this build deploy step isn't going to work right now, which means it's not really ideal. So I'm going to actually duplicate all of this. Paste. I'm going to just have 2 steps in here. Now I'm going to have one that's called build and one that's called deploy. In build, we're not going to do the deployment stuff. In deploy, I'm going to have to leave them all in because I've not set up a workspace, and we're not going to talk about workspace right now. But you can share the output from one step to another, but that just requires a bit more setup to create workspaces. So we're going to keep it simple right now. We can have one called build, one called deploy, and same down here. I'm going to have a build, and I'm also going to have a deploy step. And in fact, I can set this up to have a requires as well while we're at it. So requires, it's dash, isn't it? Build. You just double checking the docs. Yep. So requires dash build and then filters on that. So now every branch will run the build step, which means that at least every branch we know the project still builds, but only when we go to master will it run the deployment step that comes after. Okay, so build, deploy requires build, and will only run on master. So I will push that up as another commit.
It's getting exciting. So while Andrew's doing that, if you can have a think of something you'd like to change on the page, even just changing the text, so therefore we can show the workflow of us approving the PR, us merging it, and it deploying, and it's not our change, it's your change. So yes, have a look and make a change. What have we got on the site? It says, welcome to Code Mortals. Can someone make a change and change Code Mortals, where it says, welcome to Code Mortals, change the C to be a capital and space of mortals, so and the M's capital. Just make a simple change like that, and let's get that merged in, and let's demo that to you right now. Go, 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 go!
It requires someone to clone the project, set it all up.
No, you can do it by the UI.
On the UI, okay.
Because you don't need to run the project and check it and all the
Let me
rest.
show very quickly for anyone not aware where you do that. Okay, so essentially, to make the change Eddie's talking about, in the source folder here, into the app folder, there's an app component HTML file. In here, you will find the HTML for this page. And as Eddie says, you do not need to do anything other than click this pencil that's at the top. So in this little header for the displayed text, we can click Edit File. This will bring up a very, very simple editor within GitHub, and you can literally edit this. So you could say, remove all the links, take that out. I'm not actually going to commit this, but take that out, go to the bottom, and you can write your notes. Please try and use that conventional changelog flow and reference the issue number correctly as well, because if you don't, we will have to edit the commit slightly.
I can put, in the GitHub Marketplace, there's a thing you can do a linter on the commits now, which is pretty awesome. So we can add that on next time. But yes, look at the previous commit messages and just use the same style.
Yeah.
So who's going to volunteer to do that, to make any change? You can delete the links, you can change the code mortals. Just one simple change. Don't do loads because we want other people to do some, but we want to show it deploys out. And then we're probably going to have to call it a day. Did you break the CI?
See, I wasn't happy with the required statement.
Travis is simpler.
The only bit I didn't copy and paste, right?
Copy and paste development. There's test-driven development, behavioral-driven development. There's copy and paste-driven development. That's what we should do. That's what we didn't do. We got it wrong.
I missed the colon on the end to say that there's a load of stuff to go on.
My bad. I should have spotted that. Is everyone still awake? The chat's really quiet. So I'm guessing everyone's asleep. I mean, I can make the change if no one wants to make the change, but I was kind of keen to include people. I was keen to give you the green tile on the GitHub for today, or if you've already got a green tile, to make it a darker green tile to show you've got even more activity today. So let us know if anyone wants to make the contribution. If not, I can do it. I'll just do it in the browser myself.
Okay, so now if I go over to the CI, it shouldn't be upset this time. If it lasts for more than about 3 seconds, it's good. Yeah, that's looking good. But what you'll see, so what I can do now, I can actually go to the workflows box on Circle as well. So you see there's some previous workflows. In the previous one that was green, there was just a single build deploy step because we did it as a single one. But if I go to the most recent one that's currently running, you will see that, well, again, there's only a build right now because we're on the branch. So it's not going to run the deploy step because we're not on the master branch. But when we go to master, you'll see build. Then after that, there'll be another box that says deploy because that is only on there. So that succeeded. So if I can get a review on my non-existent pull request, I'm going to raise now. And this is going to say closes 37.
Your pull request title looks a bit...
Yeah, I'm going to copy another one. Generally, the first commit I do on a branch is probably the message I want to use. So I'm going to use that up here, and when we squash to merge this, that'll be okay. So I'll create that pull request if Eddie would like to review it for me, unless anyone else is faster than Eddie.
Oh, Venkatesh has done something. I want to review yours. I think Venkatesh just raised a pull request.
Oh, okay, cool.
Nice.
Updated the title on the app. Cool, so it's gone from Cobalt to Cobalt. The only thing I was going to say is it probably should be 2 words. I'm going to just put a little comment into here.
Stick a comment in, yeah? Let's do this. Venkatesh knows how to read the comment and how to put another change in. He knows how to do all this, so this is cool.
Can you change this to say Code Mortals? There we go, and I can start a review. I will then just request changes. Cool. So yeah, no, it's good, but yeah, really, it should probably be 2 words in the title for code space mortals.
Oh, another pull request has just come in. Wow, this is awesome. Love it.
Everyone's doing it. Got the same one, I think. Yeah, it's basically the same thing. So.
Oh, wow.
We already had one come in first.
I put the same comment in, and whoever gets the fix in first will accept theirs.
Okay, fine.
Go, it's a race. It's a competition. You win your PR to get merged. But in the future, we'll make it more exciting, and then we'll do some swag. Don't know how we're going to send it. People all around the world. If sending a T-shirt that costs the world, it's quite hard.
Yeah, well,
We'll figure that out.
That's why we're not going to send that many of them out, right? But yeah, we'll figure it out.
Stickers. We can take you a picture of the sticker and send it to you.
Eddie travels the globe on a weekly basis, so he can just do a personal delivery to you.
You can meet me somewhere at some conference and I'll give it to you there. No, we'll figure it out. I'm sure we can get them to just send it directly to you. Yeah. Okay, I'm just reviewing Andrew's PR. Looks okay-ish. You know, it's not great. No, I'm joking. It's cool.
So we can also see, whilst those 2 other PRs that have been raised, they are going through with the little dots on there. That means that there is a CI build that would be going through, but chances are you took your branch before you had the CI code. So I'm guessing that this will never actually respond back because Circle doesn't know what to do with your branches. It's probably monitoring them though. So if I was to go and have a look, I will probably see. Do I see them? No. Circle just doesn't know about the builds going through. Okay.
Any updates? I see some commits coming in for the pull requests. So there's some updates. Let's have a look. Should I check it out or are you going to check it out?
No, let me have a look at the other PR you've approved. Oh, you merged it. Did you squash and merge it? I hope so.
I did not. I want you to get more commits. Should I squash the future ones? Okay.
Please squash and merge. I hate having long commit histories.
I like the long commit history. Okay.
Especially seeing as the other comments I was putting in were very brief and not that descriptive of what they were doing.
Oh, okay, that's bad.
It's only really the first one that I do that with because I always squash and merge.
Okay, we'll squash and merge next time.
This is another reason when you do pull requests, you shouldn't really merge it yourself. You should give it back to the original person to merge it because they know what they were doing with it. You just want to review it to make sure that it's got what it's needed in there.
Yeah, once it's approved, the author of the pull request can then merge it themselves. But the reason why I wanted to merge it was because I wanted that extra green tile or darker green tile for me. Don't tell Andrew, okay?
But you get that just by doing the approval. That's what you get the mark for.
You get, and I wanted the mark for the merging in because I think I get the commit as well.
Oh, right,
so
that's where you want to put the commit. Oh, look at this. I'm going to have merge pull request.
See by Eddie. Eddie's done loads of work today. He's clicked that button and he's done loads and loads of work. If you need to go grab that.
But yeah, otherwise we wouldn't be having these merge pull request ones in there. It would just be a nice, neat list without all the junk in there. Never mind. It's all okay, really.
Some PRs have been updated. Shall we take a look?
Let's see, PRs. Oh, look at this. There's 3 people all going for the title.
All going for the title. It's a boxing match.
Well, that one's correct. Now, do I go for the first one I saw that's correct, or do I go back and see?
You do the one that's the
Start from the bottom. So this one has been updated and fixed.
Yes. I think the one who got it in first, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit unfair otherwise. Yeah, they haven't yet updated theirs, but that's good. They had a go at doing it, which is great. And yeah, Elliot, whilst appreciate you got in there and you did the right thing.
Oh, what about the commit messages? Let's check how correct that. Elliot, your commit message is not looking so good.
Point,
Sorry,
yeah.
but good change. And
test, yeah, good. The only thing I would say is
the module
that I try to modularize them a little bit. So I'd probably say something like landing or welcome or something.
Rather than updated app title, because it's not the description, it's the section of the app that you updated that you want to reuse over and over again. So it would be the module. But it's not the end of the world. I think it's fine.
Yeah, well, likewise, we can actually modify that slightly when we merge this. What I was going to say is there's no issue related to any of these, so should really have probably raised an issue first. So I'm just going to, I will put the issue in to go with it. So update the page title to read code portals. I won't assign myself because it's not me that's doing it. and that will create an issue number, issue 46. So what we can do, now the branch is protected, and unfortunately these aren't going to run because I'm guessing
My battery's about to die.
a bit behind. Okay, I'm going to turn the branch protection back off just temporarily while we do the stream. But again, these are things that will go back on.
No, that's awesome. Thank you for all the PRs, by the way. Even if we don't, even actually for the GitHub contributions, even if your PR doesn't get merged, you still get the contribution. So if you look at your homepage on GitHub, you will see that you still get that green tile, or it gets darker if you've already got a contribution for today. So raising pull requests is just as important, even if the pull request doesn't get merged. So for the ones who didn't make it in time, then don't worry, you still get the benefit of raising that pull request.
Cool, yeah, and what we can see is in the chat down here on the, sorry, I'm grabbing my, in the chat down here, we can see that there was my comment saying, please can you change it? Venkatesh has responded, and I can now mark that as resolved. And now I can go back in and actually approve that pull request. I did say normally we should go back to the originator, but I'm going to just merge this. So I always choose from here, I choose squash and merge. This squashes the other ones. It also gives me an opportunity to actually update the message up here. So it's grabbed the issue number from this, but that's not the issue number we were using. We created an issue and it was issue number 46. So I'm going to just change the title on this to say 46. I'm also going to change the feature so that if there was a change log generated in the future, it knows what to call it. And what should we say? Is this landing or is this more general? Because this is in just the title for the page.
You could just say app or general or something, but as long as you're consistent in the future, we make generic changes.
It's normally more obvious once you start to have modules and you've got a bigger project because you can see how you've broken your modules down. And I'd normally use the module name there, but we haven't really got modules. So we'll call it app because that is the module name right now. Okay, so happy with that. It's still got notes in there about the commits that were made and the titles they were given, but this just then follows that conventional changelog message, and I can just say squash and merge. Ooh, no signatures. Ooh, yeah, okay. Do I turn that protection off for now?
Then in the history, it will always have those unsigned. So I think Venkatesh might have missed the discussion. I can't remember.
He is verified on one of these commits.
Oh, okay.
That's interesting.
You're right. He is verified on one of his commits. So
both of them do look to be verified. So why is GitHub saying that there's...
Venkatesh, we apologize. You are verified.
Okay, it went through the next time. That may have been a GitHub blip there. So, yeah, retrying did go through.
Awesome. You are verified, though, so that's very cool. And you must have 2FA as well? Or is that just adding someone to the organization, maybe, is where you have 2FA?
Yeah, he's not on the organization as such, but he is now effectively a contributor for this.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, okay, and we can go and have a look at the CI, and we should be able to see that CI build. If we look at the master workflow running at the moment, we can see there's the build, the deploy step will come next. So give that about a minute. And when we refresh the website, so right now it still says code models at the top, but when we refresh it, this title up here should change, and I believe that's tied. Is it tied to both of them? Or is it just tied to this one?
I can't remember. I have to check the code. I think it's tied to both.
Welcome to title. So it's tied certainly to the title in the app component. I don't think it's tied to the title on the HTML page. You have to change that within the actual HTML. So the page title, the tab title is not going to change. But let's have a look.
How's CI doing? Should be usually pretty quick. It's gone green.
Green on both.
And it's got the deploy.
And I hit refresh.
Ready, dun dun dun!
Nothing. Okay.
Andrew broke it.
I didn't break it.
It's Cash. Try a different browser. Grab the link. Let me try mine. I don't trust yours. You need a new Mac.
There we go. Yeah, open a private browsing session is generally the way to go because unfortunately, yeah, things do cache.
Where is it? Where am I looking? Oh, there.
This bit here. Code models has changed. So the previous one was lowercase, no space. Oh, the now live one, which I've got to go find the private browsing window, is yeah.
Woo! So you can see now any contributions are really easy once they've been reviewed, merged, they deploy out. And yes, you might have more than one environment, but the principle is the same. I think it's a really, really good place to stop. What do you think?
Yeah, we've gone through setting up a new Angular project. We've set up the CI. We've set up the deployment. We've had a contribution to that. We do need to make the website look a bit nicer. We may actually work on that between now and the next stream a little bit, but we will try and do a recap just because we do need to get the CodeModel website up and running.
We do.
We could always do that as, well, I can't do it as a separate project now because it's on the, we will probably do a little bit of work, but we won't do any of the, let's say, the more interesting things like setting up Cypress and stuff. We'll hold off on those for a bit,
Yeah, we want to take you along with us on that journey on how to set up the automated testing for Cypress and how to do some more of the interesting things. I think there are lots of great videos out there already doing some of the, I guess, the more standard stuff. So we'll do that maybe behind the scenes. If there are any contributions you want to make, just feel free to raise a pull request, raise an issue with ideas. We'll try and sort out the labels on there. But we have been going for almost 2 hours. And that's not including the 30 minutes before setup time live stream as well. Yeah,
if you look, there is a live stream with a 360 camera with Eddie panicking as he goes around with a broken back trying to put cameras and things together.
Yeah, where were you? You were kind of playing foosball outside.
We got caught by some German chaps outside. Yeah, they were like, "Oh, do you want to play doubles on the football table?" Well, that's a terrible accent. But yeah, we joined them for a bit, and they did actually beat us. But hey, they've obviously practiced a few times.
But thank you everyone so much for joining. Again, next week we will be live streaming on the Code Mortals channel. Let me just quickly share that with you if I can quickly find it so that you know where the live stream will be. So you can subscribe to that as well as my channel, as well as Andrew's channel as well. I'm just going to share that. So just to recap, we will do streams together on the Code Mortal channel, and where we want to build up a community. I will still keep my channel where I go to hackathons, events, and open source tips and those sorts of things. I will still keep my channel for doing that. Just trying to separate it a little bit, so it isn't so blurred. So
what we should do is like a monthly thing for all the subscribers that we have. Do a little monthly raffle to give some of our swag away. Something like that might work.
That's true. I can't wait to get my hoodie. So I'm wearing Eddie Supports International Women's Day hoodie, and my one with my chibi kind of character that you can't actually see, I don't think, but you've seen it before, I'm sure. Hoodie was in the wash, I couldn't wear that, but we need to get some Code Mortal hoodies and some caps and some stickers, and we definitely need to share them out. Everyone, thank you so much for joining the live stream. Thank you very much for bringing your friends. Elliot, I know you shared it with your community, and others did as well. Meshfin, thank you for joining, and thanks for your funny comment on the issues with the swag. We're definitely going to take that on board, so that was awesome. Any questions, just put a comment in the video afterwards, and we will reply to those. And yeah. That was awesome. Have a good evening. I'm going to get some dinner. I'm starving. And we have a pipeline all set up to deployment. So that's awesome. So now we can make more changes and go really rapidly and put in the best practices of the automated testing and any other things we want to add as well. So thank you very much for all the positive comments and questions. We will see you next week, if not before.
Monday, I think. Is that the aim? Monday evening?
Let me check my calendar, see what events we got on. I'm trying to do some events. It'll be Monday or Wednesday next week at a similar sort of time. Let's have a look. Oh, my watch is buzzing.
And then we have a session in about 2 weeks with some recruiters. No, junior devs, isn't it?
We have 3 awesome junior devs in about 2 weeks. And then about a week after that, we have recruiters to talk about best way to get jobs and so forth. So let me just check. So yeah, next Monday, I think. Yes, next Monday, because next Wednesday I'm giving a talk at Flatiron School of London.
Oh yes, next Monday, Flatiron.
So Monday will be our live stream, and then we'll keep you posted on the other things, which are a couple of weeks afterwards. So yes, awesome. Have a great evening, everyone. We will now stop the live stream. I got to remember how to do that, and we'll all chat to you soon. Catch you all soon. Open source coding, contribute daily, do it. What do you think? Yes.
Like I say, we've got a new project they can contribute to. So.
Exactly. And now you know how, and then you can actually see it deployed. So it's not just going into the ether; it will be deployed.
Thank you very much.
Open source out.